laid bare the order's intent to cancel the student visas of all Hamas sympathizers on college campuses, vowing to deport all the resident aliens who joined in the pro-jihadist protests. Such ideas are increasingly gaining purchase in conservative discourse. Pledges to deport supporters of Palestinian rights were a key part of the Republican Party's platform. A congressional bill introduced last May called for similar measures. Academia is a key focus of Project Esther and Trump's executive orders. While the most recent order instructs all agencies within the executive branch to take part in the crackdown, it encourages surveillance in specific areas, such as universities and even K-12 schools, where administrators are being told to monitor and report international students for possible deportation.
K through 12 schools. What are we doing? Like, if this isn't setting off fucking alarm bells for you, I don't know. You're beyond help.
At this point, the teachers at a K-12 school are going to be like, I think the kid has a gun. Well, I don't know.
Who cares?
Is he white?
Right.
Is he white? Is he showing pro-Hamas?
I think the 7-year-old might be pro-Hamas. God. And again, if this issue doesn't affect you, or I don't know, maybe you actually like that the government is going after these people. It's cliche as fuck at this point, but you might need to be reminded of that famous poem by Pastor Martin Niemöller. Say the line, Martin. First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. This administration has a lot more enemies than just grad students protesting Israel on campus. It's kind of naive to assume that this kind of government overreach won't be directed against anyone else.
They're going to stop there. Surely. Yeah. Surely they're going to stop there, or someone will stop them. No, as we've seen, help isn't coming.
Yeah.
I mean, we can, as far as like laws and legalese and stuff, sure, the courts can take on stuff, but like they are going to strong arm this kind of stuff before courts and lawyers can get their hands on stuff. Like, I wouldn't have been, like, luckily this was all reported on Monday morning. Like, one day goes by and this guy could have been out of the country. And might be now. I don't know.
And even the first, like, 24 hours of this story, it was kind of not being talked about in mainstream media.
Yeah, no, it took a while to get picked up.
It was outlets like Zateo, which Media's on. Good fucking work with that.
Everyone who has spun out
very good
on their own and done solo stuff is doing incredible work right now. You should go support everything that they're doing.
Yeah. Anyways, the latest update on this case is that, at least for now, a federal judge has stepped in to temporarily halt Mahmoud's deportation, though he still remains in custody. And, you know, this administration clearly doesn't really recognize the court's authority.
Like I'm saying, they're going to try to do all this stuff before the courts have a chance to say no.
Well, he's already gone.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's CNN.
A federal judge in New York has blocked any efforts by President Donald Trump's administration to deport Mahmoud Khalil, a Columbia University graduate and Palestinian activist who was arrested Saturday night until a conference Wednesday, according to court documents. It's unclear if he will appear in court on Wednesday. To preserve the court's jurisdiction pending a ruling on the petition, petitioner shall not be removed from the United States unless and until the court orders otherwise, the Monday filing said. Khalil, who helped lead Columbia University's student protest movement demanding a ceasefire in Gaza, was arrested Saturday night by federal immigration authorities who said they were acting on a State Department order to revoke his green card, according to his attorney. Khalil's arrest is the latest escalation by Trump in what he calls the first arrest of many to come, to crack down on pro-Palestinian demonstrations on college campuses, and comes days after he vowed to deport foreign students and imprison agitators involved in illegal protests.
This is an important moment for anyone who has ever claimed to support free speech. For years, the issue of free speech has almost exclusively focused on platforms owned by private companies. But we've finally now got an example of the actual government being in blatant violation of the First Amendment. So surely, I mean, if that other stuff pissed you off, this has got to have you absolutely furious, right? Right, guys?
Yeah.
Well, regardless of whether or not the biggest free speech warriors are in fact total frauds, and they are, for the rest of us, this is a moment to reclaim what the First Amendment is actually about in the face of one of the most egregious violations of it in modern memory. Because if they'll do it to an Arab green card holder just for saying things they don't like, that's only a few steps away from them doing it to you for saying things they don't like.
Yes. Again, it's specifically white supremacist movements have used the I will defend your right to say it to their advantage and used it against people to grow for so long. And when any other group uses it, nope, absolutely fucking not.
Yeah, it's classic. It's classic fascism.
Yeah.
Why am I being persecuted for my beliefs?
I'm free to persecute you.
Yeah, I'm going to persecute some people for their beliefs.
Anyways, now we reach one of those increasingly common moments in our show where we do have to pivot from covering something very serious to happily telling you about products and services from this episode's sponsors. And we wish it weren't so jarring. Look, normal news shows, they get to say, we're going to break. We have to lead in and do a whole thing. But look, we have to keep the lights on.
We have to do the ads ourselves.
Don't blame us for everything being so horrible. We just like doing the show and talking to you. We are reporting the news, and Elliot, tell them your quote.
Never. We will never apologize for reporting the news.
All right, now let's take a beat, take a moment, calm down, and let you know that this episode is sponsored by Turtle Beach, and it is rocking my eardrums. I just started a new Stardew Valley load, or a new save, and boy, I haven't heard the pickaxe going in 3D sound. You haven't lived. I mean, hey, remember the first time that you booted up your favorite game? The late night sessions, the epic wins, the sounds of lobbies filling up with friends. Gaming wasn't just something that you did, it was a whole experience. And the right headset made all the difference. Turtle Beach is bringing back that feeling with the Gen 3 Stealth 700 headset. It's like stepping into the golden age of gaming all over again, only this time the audio is richer, the surround sound is more immersive, and the battery lasts an insane 80 hours. No more crackly mics, no more missed callouts, just pure, uninterrupted gaming. Exactly the way you remember it, but better. For a limited time only, get 10% off your entire order with code TODAYDAILY at turtlebeach.com. Don't miss out. Stay warm and level up your game with 10% off at turtlebeach.com using promo code TODAYDAILY. Elliot's downloading Fortnite again because they put Shohei Ohtani in the game, and he is ready to build, baby, build.
I'm going to hit some dingers. We've both been rocking these headsets for a while now, and not only is it super comfortable, and not only does the sound quality definitely give you an edge, the battery life's insane. It's so nice having a wireless headset that you almost never have to think about charging. We all have that one friend whose headset always seems to die right when you're down to the last two teams, but Turtle Beach's Stealth 700 headset has an insane 80-hour battery life with quick charge, so you rarely have to think about charging it. And the Stealth 700 has the industry's first ever cross-play dual wireless transmitter system. That means you can seamlessly switch between your consoles and PC with just the click of a button. And it gets even better. While being connected to your console, the Stealth 700 can connect with your phone for music streaming or taking calls at the same time. Listen to your favorite songs while gaming, all done with the Stealth 700.
Turtle Beach doesn't just have amazing headsets. They have every gaming accessory you could ever want, and they're all high quality at prices that don't break the bank. From flight and racing simulators to controllers, keyboards, and mics. These are booger free. Yep. Turtle Beach is the ultimate gaming cheat code, so head to turtlebeach.com and use code TODAYDAILY for 10% off your entire order. That is 10% off your order at turtlebeach.com with promo code TODAYDAILY. And after you purchase, they're going to ask where you heard about them. Tell them us. Support the show. Tell them Internet Today. Ricky and Elliot, #1.
We sent you.
Yeah, get the ultimate immersive gaming experience with Turtle Beach today.
And this episode is sponsored by Tempo. When you think about fast food, you probably think about unhealthy, thawed-out patties dripping with grease. But when you're on a tight schedule and need to save time, you might not have any other option. If this sounds familiar, you need to check out Tempo. Tempo can provide you with protein-packed fuel to save time without compromising your health goals. Tempo is a weekly delivery service that delivers chef-crafted meals from a dietitian-approved menu fresh to your door. Tempo serves up fast, feel-good, single-serving meals that are crafted to cook in just 3 minutes so you can eat well without sacrificing taste or convenience.
With new recipes each week that are made with real ingredients and nutrient-rich, they make it easy to keep up a healthy lifestyle. Tempo's perfectly portioned lunches and dinners take the guesswork out of eating well. Now they are fully prepared and they can be heated in the microwave in just 3 minutes. Tempo offers a variety of meals for different dietary and taste preferences, including protein-packed, calorie-conscious, carb-conscious, and fiber-rich. We're both busy guys trying to lead healthier lives, and Tempo has been a godsend for all those days when eating right just doesn't quite fit with the schedule. I had to do taxes today. Oh, what am I going to eat? I don't want to think about that. With Tempo, everything fits in your schedule. For a limited time, Tempo is offering our viewers 60% off your first box. Go to tempomeals.com/todaydaily. That is tempomeals.com/todaydaily for 60% off your first box? Wow! tempomeals.com/todaydaily. Rules and restrictions may apply. Check their site for details. Thank you for sponsoring the show.
But back to the news now.
Yeah.
And hey, if the first half of this show upset you, we must unfortunately let you know that we will now be talking about Elon Musk.
Damn.
And hey, I guess we should start with some good news. And a lot of this is, I mean, it's bad, but there's some good in there.
Yeah.
And the good news is that every day more and more people fucking hate this dude.
That's right.
Case in point, last Tuesday was Mardi Gras. And despite parades being New Orleans' favorite thing in the entire world, if you've ever visited New Orleans, it's all they do. Parades. They can't get enough of them.
They love it.
But despite that, the rowdy crowds who showed up for the city's biggest event of the year were none too pleased to see a convoy of Cybertrucks participating in their big, beautiful parade. Get a load of this.
Wow.
They did not like that.
They need to do these in every city and let people get their aggression out.
Yeah, I saw people who live in New Orleans were posting like, I've lived here my whole life. I have never seen a reaction like this on the parade trail.
All I can say is, and this is completely based entirely on my experience, but I run a lot, I drive a lot. I have seen noticeably less Cybertrucks on the road. And I don't know if they're selling them
I see
or if they're
them
just
fucking time.
if they're just keeping them in their garage. I see less, but I still, every time I make sure to give them the Elon salute.
I see them very often. The other day, one of them parked next to me.
Wow.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah.
Anyway, with more on this Mardi Gras situation, here's Mashable. It's not a good time to drive a Tesla Cybertruck, and not just because it's been the subject of seemingly endless recalls and issues. Folks seem to not be happy with Elon Musk, and they're taking it out on Teslas, especially the impossible-to-miss Cybertruck. Case in point, a Cybertruck got mercilessly and relentlessly booed at Mardi Gras in New Orleans this week. Video footage is pretty wild and, to be frank, a little funny. As you can see and hear, the entire crowd rallies to boo the Cybertruck. This apparently happened at the Crew of Orpheus parade during Lundi Gras on Monday, a day before Mardi Gras. Unconfirmed reports on Reddit and elsewhere claimed the trucks were bombarded with beads thrown in a not-so-friendly manner. It apparently got so aggressive that a Cybertruck window broke, despite Tesla claiming they're near indestructible.
Hey, look, a solid ball of steel, a bead, it can't put up with anything. This truck will crumble under the most simple pressure.
Yeah, well, it's hey, listen, we couldn't have foreseen that someone was going to make a necklace entirely out of spark plugs.
Yeah.
That will break the glass. Nothing we can do about it.
Yeah. Well, oh well. Sorry about your shitbox.
I guess you found out.
For some more enjoyment, here's a post to the New Orleans subreddit by a guy claiming to have the inside scoop on what went down. So I was actually one of the marshals in the cars. I was in car 3, the silver one with no wrap. Had 2 American flags flying off the back. I've been volunteering for the marshals for the past 4 years, and I got assigned to the cars this year. We use cars to call cross streets, respond to incidents, relieve other walkers as needed, which was super exciting because I didn't want to walk the whole parade anymore. Lol. We had no idea the cars this year were Cybertrucks until we were assigned. First off, fuck Musk. Second, let me tell you that it was boos and attacks from start to evacuation. I couldn't believe my eyes. I knew it was going to be bad, but holy shit. The people in charge were telling us to get out and stop people from crowding the trucks. And we all said, I'm not stepping foot out of this thing. They'll think I'm a part of this and attack me. I don't want to have anyone believe that I would be in here voluntarily.
I can't be seen.
Yeah. The drivers were blasting music to drown out the boos, and they were defending Elon the whole time to me. They knew why they were being attacked. But what, they don't like finding waste? Had to flag down a cop to let them exit on Gravier, and I hopped out at Annunciation. They went off to Metairie to all meet up and go back home. Definitely one of the most memorable Mardi Gras for me, and I was hiding a smile the whole time. It would ruin my life if anyone were to see me in this monstrosity.
I simply cannot exit the car in public.
No.
If I am seen here, first of all, I will be physically attacked.
It is becoming more and more apparent, A, why the mirrors are actually tinted, or the windows are tinted that dark, and B, why Tesla needs all those cameras all over that car. It is to prevent vandalism and prevent people from being seen in these cars.
Yeah.
And every Tesla I see, again, more just like firsthand, I see those fucking bumper stickers popping up more and more.
It's not enough.
It is, yeah.
Phil sold his Tesla.
Good. I see a bunch of like celebrities or well-off people are just donating it to NPR. Elvira did. I think we talked about it before. Elvira did it. Gosh, someone else did. I think maybe it was Jodie Foster or something. But all these, the Hollywood liberals that bought these things like 5 or 6 years ago, they were like, oh yeah, electric car. Sure, I like the environment.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's got a big screen in it. Cool. That's actually pretty innovative at the time.
Which was how this brand got popular in the first place. Was a lot of like famous Californians started buying them.
Just like the big Prius surge in the 2000s.
Yeah, that was Larry David was behind a lot of that.
No, the whole thing with Tesla was, of course, the fake self-driving stuff, but also it really was the one thing that it innovated was just having a big screen in the car. People like big screen.
Well, also being electric.
Well, yeah, but big screen.
Yeah, big screen.
I like big screen.
What if screen but bigger?
Yeah.
Anyway, another Elon Musk schadenfreude. His stupid social media website went down on Monday for a while.
Multiple times.
Almost certainly because it is still barely held together with duct tape and exploited H-1B workers. But for Elon, this served as an excuse to once again meddle in international relations. Here's Bloomberg. Elon Musk blamed widespread disruptions on his social media platform X on a massive cyber attack, which he claimed was orchestrated by a large coordinated group or country. Tens of thousands of users globally reported intermittent outages on X on Monday, according to the monitoring website Down Detector. New posts were failing to load for users in countries including the US, UK, France, and India at various points throughout the day. The service disruptions lasted a few minutes each. Musk later acknowledged that the platform had experienced a site-wide disruption. "We get attacked every day, but this was done with a lot of resources," he wrote in a post on X, the site formerly known as Twitter. In an interview on Fox Business, he said the cyber attack was intended to take down X with IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area.
Oh my. It's just so odd that it would happen after we just announced a week that we were going to pull away from doing anything related to Russian cybersecurity.
But this retroactively does mean that we were right to do so. Ukraine cannot be trusted.
And I'm going to revoke their access to my beautiful star.
Ukraine is not epic.
Not a very cool Ukraine.
Not cool.
Definitely not Russia using Ukrainian IPs or any other foreign actor using Ukrainian IPs or Musk just making this up entirely.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very convenient. Just so convenient that this perfectly aligns with Elon's recent anti-Ukraine rhetoric, which over the weekend spawned one of the most ridiculous posts that this guy has ever made. "I literally challenged Putin to one-on-one physical combat over Ukraine, and my Starlink system is the backbone of the Ukrainian army. Their entire front line would collapse if I turned it off. What I am sickened by is years of slaughter and a stalemate that Ukraine will inevitably lose. Anyone who really cares, really thinks, and really understands wants the meat grinder to stop. Peace now." And a lot of things to unpack here. Obviously, the first part about challenging Vladimir Putin to one-on-one physical combat is what stands out because what? You canceled a fight against Mark Zuckerberg. You cancel multiple offers that you made to go on podcasts and shows. He challenged Jon Stewart, and then Jon Stewart was like on the Daily Show, and Jon Stewart was like, okay, he's like, as long as it's completely unedited. And Jon Stewart's like, okay, and then he fucking backed out of that, and he's like, I challenged Vladimir Putin to physical combat.
Yeah, which is funny because, like, say what you will about Vladimir Putin, he's been practicing judo for like 40 years. He would absolutely kill you, sir.
Yeah, even if he's not very good at it, even if like people are letting him have it a little bit.
He does get the Steven Seagal treatment when he goes to like judo tournaments and a bunch of jobbers like fly out of the way when he lightly touches them. But like he does know judo. He's been trained as a fucking FSB agent.
It's so bizarre and again just blatantly on its face pathetic to make stuff up like this.
Yeah, like why?
Especially when this should go without saying, but especially when you're the richest man on earth.
Yeah, you don't need to say I challenged him to a physical one-on-one fight. Like
you sound like an insecure dad whose son is being bullied.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a black belt.
He won't be messing with you anymore. I challenged his dad to a fight.
I challenged Putin to a fight, but I had to back out because my hands are registered as lethal weapons.
Yes,
And I would have gone to prison, actually.
I wouldn't have been able to save America.
It would have been like Nicolas Cage in Con Air.
He is truly the most annoying man ever.
He is absolute proof that money does not buy confidence, happiness, fulfillment, anything of the sort. In fact, money seems to be a disease.
Yeah, it is.
Bad for the soul, bad for the mind.
Now, the choice of words when he starts talking about cutting off Starlink for Ukraine's troops is also worth mentioning because he doesn't say we, and he doesn't use the passive voice. He says, if I turned it off. This irked a whole lot of people, particularly Radoslaw Sikorski, the foreign minister of Poland, the country actually paying for Ukraine's Starlink access. Hey, wait a minute. No. Here's Reuters.
In response, Sikorski wrote on X, Starlinks for Ukraine are paid for by the Polish Digitization Ministry at the cost of about $50 million per year. The ethics of threatening the victim of aggression apart, if SpaceX proves to be an unreliable provider, we will be forced to look for other suppliers. In a series of posts on X on the subject that lasted through the day, Musk said later he would not turn off Starlink in Ukraine.
To be extremely clear, no matter how much I disagree with the Ukraine policy, Starlink will never turn off its terminals. We would never do such a thing or use it as a bargaining chip.
As I maybe just have.
The U.S. government has already revoked some access to satellite imagery for Ukraine and paused intelligence sharing, piling pressure on Kyiv as Trump seeks a swift end to the war, now in its fourth year after Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022. Sources familiar with the matter told Reuters in February that U.S. negotiators pressing Kyiv for access to Ukraine's critical minerals had raised the possibility of cutting the country's access to the Starlink service. Marco Rubio had hit back at Sikorski, saying in a post on X that he was making things up and that no one has made any threats about cutting Ukraine off from Starlink. And say thank you, because without Starlink, Ukraine would have lost this war a long time ago, and Russians would be on the border with Poland right now. Everyone's asking for thank yous.
Yeah, and did you say thank you at all, please?
In a separate reply to Sikorski's post, Musk wrote,
Be quiet, small man. You pay a tiny fraction of the cost, and there is no substitute for Starlink.
Musk is such a... Fight me. Fight me. I will fight you. Just fucking challenge me. I'll do it. I don't even care. Like, he's such a pussy.
Yeah. Probably the worst person in the world.
Anyways, what a piece of shit. Also, it turns out that it's not exactly true that there's no substitute for Starlink. Here's CNBC. Shares of French satellite operator Eutelsat skyrocketed almost 390% last week, and a potential change of tack in European defense has been helping the rally. The firm's stock price saw wildly volatile moves last week, up by as much as 77% on Tuesday and by another 120% on Wednesday. From its closing price on February 28th to last Friday's close, shares have risen an eye-watering 387%. Eutelsat's shares continued to climb on Monday, jumping more than 22% as of 1 p.m. local time in Paris. Last week, reports surfaced suggesting that Eutelsat was in the running to potentially replace Musk's Starlink in the embattled Ukraine. For years, Starlink has offered Ukraine's military satellite its internet services to assist with the war effort amid Russia's ongoing invasion. Everyone is asking us today, can you replace the large number of terminals of Starlink in Ukraine? And we are looking at that. Eutelsat CEO Eva Bernanke told Bloomberg in an interview last week, Eutelsat arguably has the scale to offer additional support for Ukraine in terms of satellite-based connectivity. The firm says it currently has a fleet of 35 GEO satellites in addition to an LEO constellation of more than 600 satellites.
So, yeah, sounds like the powers that be across Europe are scrambling to find a replacement for Starlink.
Yeah.
For very good, obvious
Sounds
reasons.
like a good replacement when it's available. They'll be really eager to jump in on that.
Sounds like this company, which just got a huge cash injection from investors, is very much in the running to do exactly that. It's Elon, once again, like he did with cars, being like, well, what else are you going to drive? And it's like, buddy, it's not 2014 anymore.
Everything.
There's a whole lot of other electric cars out there that aren't owned by CEOs anyone even knows the names of.
And it's like, what are you going to do? You can't. There's nothing you can replace Starlink with.
It's like, actually, there's other companies doing this. And,
Having said that, I wish all of these companies would stop putting fucking space fucking junk in the sky.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad for astronomy. I mean, the space trash problem has been going on for decades, but this is making it way worse.
Yeah. A lot of stuff up there.
From what I understand,
And that's from a rocket lover.
From what I understand, though, a lot of the reason Starlink has been especially bad for astronomy is that they never even fucking considered the effect that it would have on astronomy. They never consulted with anyone about it.
They need like long exposure.
They painted them white.
Yeah.
And they're like, if they had just painted these fucking things black,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been nearly as much of an issue.
Yeah. Well,
But they didn't ask anyone because Elon knows best.
That's right. And now there's a whole bunch of new stars in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So masterful gambit, sir, yet again. But in other news about everyone hating Elon, the protests outside of Tesla showrooms nationwide have grown quite a bit in the past few weeks that they've been happening, and they show no signs of slowing down, despite the absurd police response that some of them have received, which mainly serves to validate the protesters.
It's another example of just a clear display of how America operates.
Law enforcement exists to protect capital.
Yes.
And here you go, if you needed proof of that.
Yes, they were deporting legal residents this weekend and defending Tesla dealerships.
He's gonna sign an executive order targeting anti-Tesla.
It's gonna be a hate crime.
It's gonna be a hate crime for not like Teslas, and they're gonna start.
Much like with advertisers, if you don't drive a Tesla, you're gonna get sued.
Yeah. So there have been a few isolated incidents of people, getting a little too excited, taking things too far, maybe doing a little bit of vandalism.
Don't do that.
But it has overwhelmingly been peaceful demonstrations with some great signs, some great chants, and it's helped to further tie Tesla, the brand, to the awful piece of shit whose fortune is built on it. It's hard to say exactly what extent the protests are hurting Tesla because, Elon himself has been doing a pretty good job at hurting Tesla.
Yeah. But
if the stock market is anything to go by, things are not going great for Elon's little electric car company.
Even the insiders are cutting their losses.
Here's CNN last week.
Shares of Tesla shot up 91% after Election Day, peaking just before Christmas, as investors anticipated Musk and his car company would be big winners as a result of Donald Trump's second term as president. Musk was Trump's largest financial supporter during the campaign and has since become the highest profile member of his administration by far. In his role as the head of the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, he has been trying to impose deep cuts in spending that had been previously approved by Congress, laying off thousands of federal workers. But shares tumbled 5.6% in trading Thursday and are now down 45% from their December peak, giving up 96% of that post-election bump. Just since Trump took office and Musk began wielding power, they have lost 38% of their overall value. And actually, it's been a couple of business days since Thursday, and things have gotten much, much, much worse. Mr. Trump, that depression you ordered is right on its way. That recession is knocking on the door.
Yeah, I mean, the whole stock market's down, but
Tesla in particular is
not doing great.
Yeah. If you had bought Tesla stock at its December 17th peak, it has now lost more than half its value. Ooh. And it's even down 12% from its value on Election Day. Ooh. Yeah, and on Monday of this week alone, that shit dropped over 15%. And this is
that a lot?
This is certainly at least partially due to how toxic Elon and his brand have gotten for average people. But a lot of it seems to be investors finally coming to their senses and being realistic about the company's prospects in the U.S. And internationally as other EV brands succeed, while Tesla's CEO dedicates all of his time and energy to politics. And I heard a horror story a couple weeks back. I will not name names, but someone whose family member is a conservative decided that it would be a smart idea to reallocate their retirement into Tesla shares after the election. And is probably, I would say that conservative in particular is probably having a bit of buyer's remorse. With Doge
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
First of all, if you are anywhere near retirement, you should not be investing in individual stocks.
Don't touch anything.
But individual stocks,
Yeah.
even like early on, it's fine to put it. Like I have a lot of shares of like Costco and Nvidia, companies that I believe in. Once I hit like 45 or 50, I will be gradually reallocating that to much more stable ETFs and other such.
I'm already there. I'm an old man.
Most of my shit is in ETFs already, but I have a few favorites. But it's insane and stupid to move your entire retirement fund into one stock, literally putting all of your eggs, and eggs are expensive, in one basket. So that fucking sucks. I feel bad for everyone around that person.
Well, no,
I do not feel bad for that person.
Well, yeah, but that would be the one person who's like, oh, well, maybe this isn't a good idea. But also, people who have no desire to have any exposure to Tesla at all are certainly feeling this as well, because a lot of their retirement accounts, depending on where they work or who's investing that company's funds, might have exposure to it. So this is kind of bad for everyone, not to mention the market in general and the economy in general, which I know a lot of people don't base it on the stock market or whatever, but you can get vibes off of the general consensus off of both.
Yeah, I mean, we heard incessantly last year that we were in a recession.
Or on the verge of one or whatever.
And yeah, there were a lot of data points that said that, yeah, we were. There were others that said, no, we weren't. There's a lot more data right now indicating a recession, or maybe even, who knows? Who knows?
Well, Trump even mentioned that. He was like, I don't like to throw around words, but we've got to fix things. But I believe maybe it was his commerce secretary or someone was like, oh, we're going to change the definition of what the GDP is made of, so that recession targets aren't exactly triggered.
Can't have a recession if you change the definition of recession.
Yeah, I think they're like decoupling government spending from like a GDP analysis or something.
Very clever, sir.
Yeah. Just change the definition of what things mean.
We fixed the glitch. Anyway, that's our show.
Yeah.
A lot of bad, some good, mostly bad. But
hey, look, if the Tesla stock keeps going down, that is the only real way that you can take power away from Elon Musk, because it's not because of his smarts, it's because of his money. And in America, money equals power. So if you take that away from him,
he's still the richest man, though.
Yeah.
He lost like $22 billion of value just on Monday alone. Yeah. But he's still at #1. So keep it up, I guess. If nothing else, it's got to annoy the shit out of him. Because this man, what he really wants is to be loved. That's all he wants.
The way it works is that the people around him will eventually put pressure on him because they're losing money on him.
Yeah, that is the big thing is, unlike Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk does not have a stranglehold on the board for his company. He does have a board that's almost entirely staffed by total sycophants.
But as I said, I have
family members.
A couple of people have pointed out that those people are selling their shares as well now, because
they are, and there may reach a point where Tesla's large institutional investors say, "Hey, the CEO of this fucking company, in addition to running 6 other companies, seems to just spend all of his time at Mar-a-Lago in Washington D.C. and does not seem to actually be running this company that seems like it's in danger of." Really missing out on a big chunk of the market that it used to have cornered.
Not only that, he's actively advocating against policies that would help our company and provide us with more money in the way of tax incentives.
It's a violation of fiduciary duty, arguably. So what are we going to do about that?
Seems like America has a couple problems to solve, and we will be solving them off camera. Yeah. And we'll have all the solutions for you when we're back with our next episode. But until then, make sure you like the video. Click the like button. It actually does help us out. It's the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
The other best thing you can do, you can click the thank button or the join button. That's up to you. But you can leave a comment, talk about anything we discussed today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you want to see symbolism at its finest, please watch our most recent episode of Weekly Weird News, where a Canadian goose and an American bald eagle, they clash, and I think you already know the answer of who wins. Bye. Bye.
One month ago, Ethan Klein uploaded the content nuke against Hassan Piker. This video was to be the end of Hassan Piker. It was to be Ethan Klein's glorious victory. He was going to prove for good that Israel is actually epic, Palestine is wrong, and that Hassan Piker is a terrorist whose career was going to be over after his expose. Now, here we stand, about 40 days after that, and Ethan Klein, rather than uploading his glorious Victory Lap follow-up video to this supposed content nuke on Hassan Piker, has uploaded a video alleging that there is a Reddit gang stalking ring that apparently like camped outside his house or something, and his world seems to be crashing down around him. Okay, well, it seems like the content nuke against Hassan Piker was not actually a nuke at all. So we're going to check out this gang stalking delusion video made by Ethan Klein. and we're gonna see what he has to say. So just before we move on, Ethan making this video is in regards to a supposed visit by Child Protective Services to his house, which, to be clear, I still have not seen them provide any evidence that this happened. Maybe they have, who knows. But either way, if it happened, it's because of what they themselves said in their own podcast, rather than anyone reporting them dishonestly or anything like that as they are attempting to claim. I will show you the clip that is clearly enough to warrant such a visit. This is a clip from the H3 podcast from the 17th of February, where Ethan states in no uncertain terms the following. 1, his dog had the parasite Giardia. 2, one of his children contracted the parasite Giardia from the dog. 3, his wife Healer contracted the parasite Giardia in some fashion. 4, now he thinks that he himself has the parasite. Klein then goes on to state in no uncertain terms that he believes that you contract this parasite in only one way, which is through eating feces. Now, if you were a CPS officer and you saw this clip, you would likely want to check on this family of your own volition. You didn't need anyone to tell you to do it. Watch.
So that's only one part of it. The next part is
What's the next?
that Olive has Giardia, which is it's a bacterial infection in the intestines that makes you have diarrhea.
And Olive has this?
Olive has this, yeah. She came to us with it.
Okay.
She had diarrhea, and
Oh, poor baby.
Ducky came to us with that too. And I just wonder why.
It's relatively common.
It should be, they should have found it already. But anyway, so she has Giardia, so we have her on an antibiotic, but we had to wait until Monday, which is today. We just got it today. And, well, Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has Giardia.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
And now Ela has Giardia.
shut. For real?
And now I think this morning I had diarrhea.
Oh my God.
What can I do to not get it from
Yeah, I'm trying
Yeah,
to...
Because I'm not trying to get
No,
it.
Crank the AC, maybe?
Is it?
It's extremely ridiculous to get. You have to ingest my poop. Are you planning on that?
Never.
Not really.
So then you're fine.
Okay, so Ethan Klein is trying to self-victimize here when he straight up said this in like a 2-minute long rant on his podcast, just oversharing to the maximum, claiming that his child had contracted a parasite and then going on to elaborate and imply that this had been through eating shit. No, he has no one to blame for this other than himself. Because for one, if this actually happened or anything even remotely approximating this happened, then those kids needed to be checked on. But for two, you also, like, if this wasn't true, if you were like telling a joke here or something, as I'm sure he's trying to claim now, why the fuck would you just say this anyway? This isn't funny. Like, there's no reason for you to just say this unless it was true. Boggles the fucking mind. To self-victimize after this is insane. And now he's trying to frame a visit from CPS as if it was like a swatting or something. It's not. Okay, a visit from CPS is like a guy with a clipboard coming to your house to check on the kids. That is not a traumatic experience. That is not swatting. You are not in any danger. What is very interesting about this is that Gila has said afterwards, because these people apparently just cannot stop giving up too much information. She posted a story where she claimed that they are being harassed, which we're going to get into as well, don't you worry, and then said that they called Child Protective Services to our house yesterday and they are now performing an investigation. They would not perform an investigation unless what they saw was bad enough to warrant one, unless they had some sort of suspicion of something more going on. So quite clearly here, if this actually happened, if this Child Protective Services person actually visited, like what they saw was bad enough that they did not just close the case right then and there. They decided to continue. And now Ethan is blaming this on other people. He's trying to say, oh, how dare they report us for this, rather than saying, are we perhaps doing something wrong here that could cause Child Protective Services to think they need to perform an investigation on our children. The idea that they are spewing here is that like one random person called CPS on them and told a lie, which to be clear is obviously not true. Reporting on what Ethan Klein himself said during his podcast wouldn't be lying. And then this CPS officer who visited them saw enough to, according to Gila here, warrant further investigation. That is something that is on you guys. It's not on fucking anyone else. For them to try and blame anyone else for this, like they're coming for my kids. No, they're not coming for your kids. No one's coming for your kids. CPS is investigating based on what you yourself said and what they saw in your house when they visited you. This is not because of the internet harassment campaign. This is because of what you said on your stream regarding your kids contracting Giardia. And apparently, according to you yourselves, what Fila said here, they saw enough when they visited you to warrant further investigation. That is all on you. It's not on anyone else. And I certainly hope that if your kids are in danger of health problems, that CPS would at the very least attempt to help you in your parenting so you can stop giving your kids parasites. Thank you. I think that's a pretty basic thing to say. Now, Ethan has also very recently, ironically, spurred harassment campaigns against other people. For example, just yesterday, a member of Ethan's subreddit attempted to contact my family members and find out where they live, which is very interesting. So you can see here, this fella right here said, 1 like, and I will message Bad Empanada's mother on Facebook, and then said where he believes that she lives or my family live. Interesting. Given that I've never shared anything approximating such information, I wonder how this H3H3 subreddit member got such information and on whose incitement they decided to search for it. Very interesting. Look out for this fella who's proudly wearing Teddy Fresh garb in his photo. He's since deleted his Reddit account, however, this is a very bad thing to do when you live in Australia, as this guy does, given that there is a 6-year prison sentence for doing it, and we'll see how that goes for him. But worse than that, way worse than that, Ethan Klein's fans have been tracking down the family members of a guy who he doxed on his stream and told his fans to harass this guy on his stream. It's been a week since that happened, and a week later, this guy is still reporting that he and his family are getting death threats. For example, he got a death threat from this Ethan Klein fan. This was a comment on his underage sister's Instagram account, which they went and found his underage sister's Instagram account at Ethan's incitement. And the comment says, I know what school your mum works at. Tell her she's not safe. Joe, your brother, started some shit and now your mum is going to pay. Ethan Klein will get her. This was spurred on by Ethan Klein with his crew member, Abdullah Ayad. Abdullah, who said, oh, I know where these people live, while Ethan Klein was doxing them live on stream. And this guy has the nerve to say that him getting a visit from CPS because of things that he factually said on himself, like shit that if it was a normal person, for one, you wouldn't do that shit. You wouldn't just, that wouldn't happen to you. And for two, the CIA would not be able to torture that information out of you. It's that embarrassing. He just openly overshared it on his podcast. That's obviously, if this CPS visit even happened, if this investigation is happening, what they acted upon, and they clearly saw enough to, when they visited, to warrant not immediately closing the case, given Hila Klein herself said so. So that is a little bit of extra context here. I could go into more stuff, like the fact that Ethan Klein has a long history of defamation and spurring harassment against other people. For example, there was a guy, Patrice Wilson, who was a rather cringeworthy record producer who would go everywhere and try to find child artists who he obviously he wanted to find the next big thing and make it rich, and he made cringe music videos and stuff. Ethan Klein called this guy a pedophile for years. He was the guy behind Rebecca Black's Friday, I believe, which is very, very famous. Ethan Klein called that guy a pedophile for years, to the point he tried to kill himself, when what he was guilty of was being a producer of cringe music videos. What happened as a result of this defamation campaign? Well, Patrice was accused of, according to him, being a rapist, being a pedophile. Fantastic. Ethan Klein has a long history of defamation, of targeted harassment against totally random people as well. Ethan's entire MO has been mass targeted harassment of random fucking people for years and years. Some of them are shitty people, some of them aren't. Either way, it's incredibly weird. And what is happening to him is not even remotely that. People are criticizing him on Reddit. And now he's trying to frame a totally warranted CPS visit based on things that he said himself on his podcast, if it even happened, by the way. Obviously, we don't know for sure. He's trying to frame that as him being a victim or something. It's absolutely absurd. Ethan, you have not faced anything even close to what you have done to others. This is not harassment. It's people criticizing and commentating on the internet content that you yourself put it into the world, the things that you yourself say. He insists that it's false when he just has stuff like that video that we watched sitting there. Let's check out Ethan Klein's fantastic video. He posted on his main channel a video. Stalkers are coming after my children and Reddit is enabling them. I can't wait to check this one out. Let's go.
In my long career on YouTube, I've pretty much seen it all. I've been swatted several times with LAPD
He's
help.
going to frame himself as a victim here without acknowledging what he has done to dozens of other people, dozens of coordinated harassment campaigns, trying to frame himself as like a massive victim because people on Reddit criticize him.
Helicopters, the street shut down, police with guns drawn, doing a perimeter around my house. We've also been visited by the FBI 3 times. They were all to warn us of a credible threat against our lives. One time, most recently, he came at 7 a.m. and said, "Do not open any packages until you hear from me, as we have credible bomb threats against you that we found online." I thought I'd seen it all. I knew this content nuke was going to draw a lot of negative attention, seeing how extreme Hassan and his fan base are, and his orbiters. But
it's gone that badly that like the supposed career-ending content nuke on Hassan,
the lengths to which they've gone
resulted in
to
this.
harass us and get revenge for going after their god king Hassan has frankly gone beyond any type of
So
point
Hassan
of civility.
Piker is like leading or inadvertently leading like a mass Reddit harassment campaign against him. That's the narrative here. Let's see how much it is actually backed up by the evidence.
And humanity to the point where they're calling CPS, Child Protective Services, to come to our house and break up our family.
Again, he has no evidence that anyone called CPS. 2, he's trying to say that like CPS would just break up this fucking rich millionaire family living in a mansion with no cause, no reason to do so. That's obviously fucking bullshit. He's framing this like you can just call CPS and they will go somewhere and like immediately take the kids away. And that obviously is not what happened. You're not even fucking close. He's framing it like a swatting. It's not that at all. Obviously, you have nothing to fucking worry about here, especially as rich white people with a mansion, unless they had some sort of reason to be there and to suspect that something broader was going on. So he has no evidence that anyone called CPS. He has no evidence that anyone from any of these groups called CPS. He does not know how CPS came to his house. There's no reason at all to go with his narrative here. It's pure narrativization, nor has he provided any evidence that if there was a call to CPS, it was not warranted. Because as we've gone over, the things that he has said on his stream should be bad enough to warrant at least a checkup. By the way, I did not play the rest. Like, there are entire videos.
It's
We're
normally
talking
covered.
about scent attracting flies.
Like, his crew and he have talked about their problems with like their pet excrement constantly on their show over the years.
Do you want to read
You're talking about scent. If you want to
You
talk
want to maybe
about
read this?
But
if you're
when I got here and I was saying I don't see any flies, I heard some of you guys saying it's here. We're in the control room.
weird,
Everywhere.
fruit in your control room.
It's literally everywhere.
not anywhere
in
near
the
my
office.
fruit. Wouldn't they be on my
Oh my
fruit?
god, I can't believe we've been debating this. Read the Reddit post.
All right, you made me do this, Ethan.
Show it.
God.
You made me do
Was
this.
it
Do you see any flies around my fruit?
I don't think it's just like, oh, I put
Play this-
fruit
no,
here and fly.
There's 7 minutes in this.
What's down there? So he'll be walking in for about
Like, there is more than enough probable cause for at least a CPS visit. And a CPS visit is not the end of the fucking world as he's trying to frame it as. Nor is it, like, he's trying to frame this as, like, by default something unimaginable and unwarranted. Like, it's unthinkable that these two could ever be bad parents. They could ever do anything wrong as parents. Is that correct? I'd say quite clearly that it's not. It's not incorrect, given the fact that CPS, obviously, given the other client's story, found enough probable cause to warrant further investigation after that visit, and they did not immediately close the case.
On Friday morning, an agent showed up to our house saying that they had received an anonymous tip that our children were crawling around in dog shit, eating.
By the way, you should not believe his narrative here. You should not believe his framing of this. He's obviously going to try to frame it as favorable to himself as possible. And do you think that CPS would just act on an anonymous tip from someone who has zero proof that they are connected to you at all? By the way, just want to note here, in California, there are no anonymous tips anymore for CPS. In 2023, California switched to a system of confidential reporting, which requires CPS screeners to ask all callers for information regarding them. So if they say to you that this person was someone close to you, they would have had to give in enough detail to the operator to prove that they were close to you. So his narrative here falls over immediately if you just look into the actual truth. There is no such thing as anonymous CPS calls in California anymore.
Dog shit and contracting diseases. Not only have they...
What he said there is completely in line with what Ethan himself said in his own podcast. You know, CPS do you think they would not look up your podcast if they got a call like this? Or that the person who was calling wouldn't need to provide further information, such as that podcast clip, which aligns more or less with what the person supposedly said there. So, I mean, he needs to just leave this context out for this to even work.
Called CPS on us. Now they're starting to try to call in a 5150 to get me committed. It's really...
A 5150 to get me committed.
Try to call...
We have a bunch of screenshots, 5150, a bunch of random comments. They're trying to call in a 5150 to get me committed. Do you think that you could actually just be committed? Do you think people on the internet saying this guy's crazy, he should be committed? Do you think that is at all actionable? That is at all serious? This is like a supposed comedian just taking like the obvious fucking people being like, "Whoa, this guy's crazy." No, look at how this guy's acting and pretending to take it seriously. They're trying to get me committed. If I acted like Ethan Klein, every time that someone called me crazy or hinted at like, "Oh, you should be in a mental asylum," I would be like, "Oh, you want me to be committed by the police?" I mean, yeah, the top right photo literally says joking. Like, this is your evidence.
It's really gone on too far, and at this point, I'm ready to take no prisoners.
Your evidence is that people are calling you crazy on Reddit.
Take the gloves off and call out everybody who needs to be called out. The thing is...
Oh, yeah, man. They haven't been doing that already.
They cannot be walked back. Once my kids are involved and people are targeting my children, harassing...
Your kids were involved. You talk about your kids. You overshare constantly. You need to stop. Why did you even talk about this in the first place? No one needed to know that your kid had, according to you, had giardia. Nor did they need to know that you believe that it was contracted through fecal ingestion. You could have not said that.
My children, there's no length that I won't go to take care of this, and I think that's something...
I mean, you were already doing the same shit before. What happened here is really just the content nuke went so fucking badly for him that he's trying to garner sympathy by creating this imagined mass harassment campaign. He's doing exactly what he would always accuse others of doing. Except in those cases, he would go against these random people and just organize targeted harassment against them for basically no reason at all. In this case, it's just people criticizing him, and he's calling that targeted harassment.
Parent can relate to. All these people, incidentally, who are promoting this type of insanity are, in fact, childless, and will likely remain that way. The CPS agent showed up and...
If only we had children, then we could understand. Ranting about your children getting a parasite on stream.
Started asking us all kinds of questions like, who feeds the kids? Who takes care of the kids? What do you do to the kids when you get angry? How do the kids sleep? Do the kids have toys? Is that what happens when you get mad, or what happens when your kids get mad? He walked around the house. He looked in our refrigerator.
So he asked you the questions that they ask everyone when they visit.
Walked all around looking for dog shit, apparently. Although when he showed up immediately, he said, "Wow, this place is clean." Our
I'm sure he did. Yep, that definitely happened.
Our 8-month-old is upstairs sleeping when he visits, and he says, "I need to go upstairs and look at your infant visibly to see him and confirm he's okay." So he's napping in his crib. He goes upstairs to look around the house, to snoop around. He investigates Sonny, our youngest, wakes him up from his nap, and even though he woke him up during his nap, he was greeted immediately, actually, by a smile, because Sonny is probably the happiest baby in the entire world. He smiles at everybody. His name is Sonny because he is just a ray of sunshine. He just gave him a big smile. I mean, he's just the sweetest kid in the world. So
look how sweet these kids are. Never mind the clip where you said that this kid contracted giardia.
We went back downstairs to continue the conversation, at which point he said something that both me and Hila had us both saying absolutely not. He said he was going to go to the children's school to interrogate them there. We both said, you are absolutely not going to ever go to their school and talk to them.
There is no fucking way that, like, this CPS officer would have taken it to this point unless he saw something in your house that, you know, piqued his interest. He's trying to frame himself as a victim here, like, oh my god, we're being targeted by CPS. What did this guy see in the house that he wanted to actually interview the other children? What the fuck?
That is fucking insane. We agreed that he'll come back to our house and interview our 3- and 5-year-old children at a time when they're at home, so he doesn't need to humiliate them in front of his peers, his teachers, the staff there, and, you know, needlessly stigmatize them. My young 3- and 5-year-old children, who are sweet and innocent as can be, have not yet been interrogated by a CPS agent, but that is due to happen on Wednesday. He also spoke to our nanny, our housekeeper. He's called the pediatrician that takes care of...
This is pretty fucking serious. Like, this does not just happen based on nothing, Ethan. They do not take an investigation to this level because you're a poor little victim who got falsely attacked or something. If this was a false, like if this was a false call based on nothing, at most you would have gotten a visit and the officer would have been like, oh fuck, yeah, this was nothing, see ya. What happened here? This is so much worse than you are trying to frame it as. This is, if anything, a warranted investigation because clearly on the visit the guy saw enough that he believed that further investigation was necessary.
For the kids, he talked to them.
How are you, like, if that's the case, if a CPS officer came to your house and thought that what he saw was bad enough that further investigation was necessary, you aren't a fucking victim here. Something clearly needs to be done to get you to take better care of your kids in that case.
Pretty much sifted through every angle of our life having to do with our kids in an extremely violating, insulting, unbelievable way. Just a complete breach of privacy and inhumanity.
Oh, how are you possibly not understanding the broader implications of this?
It's like you can't believe that you, as somebody who has done nothing wrong, has taken care of your kids, to be
According to you, yeah, sure. According to you, you've done nothing wrong. Great. The evidence for this is what? Nothing. There's a lot more evidence that we should be suspicious than not.
To this forcible investigation because of some fucking freaks online called
No, this cannot happen because of some freaks online, okay? This is not like swatting. This can't happen. Investigation can't get to this level just because of some person online calling CPS and lying, especially after the CPS officer has already been there. They have clearly seen more than what he's letting on.
Anonymously to say that our kids are crawling around in shit. The immediate question for me was, who did this and how am I going to hold them accountable? It didn't take me long to catch the trail of the obvious suspect, which is the work of a subreddit dedicated to harassing me, my family,
dedicated to harassing you. It's a subreddit that is dedicated to watching your podcast and like saying that they don't like it and stuff, criticizing it. It's not fucking harassment, dumbass.
Their families too, frankly, known as Snark. H3 Snark is the place that they originated. If you don't know what Snark is, it's this growing phenomenon of communities dedicated essentially to destroy someone's life, picking it apart, harassing.
Now, I don't know about I'm not up with the law or something, but I'm pretty sure this guy is the origin of like the original so-called Snark community, which was actually against Trisha Paytas, who I don't know anything about and I don't want to know anything about, who as far as I know is Healer's sister-in-law and his sister-in-law as well, I guess. And it got to the point with her where she was begging them to please do something about it, and they just told her, I don't care, you deserve it. And now, like, something not even remotely that bad. Like, this is not harassment or anything. This is just people criticizing you, criticizing things that you openly share on your live stream, and you're trying to frame that as like harassment that you were a victim of. Here's what would be harassment. Harassment would be like post about how people should like find you in real life and like berate you or something. Harassment would be like people posting pictures of your house or something, or like sending you threatening DMs or something. Harassment is not saying like on a subreddit, Ethan Klein is a poo-poo head because he said this thing on his podcast. Harassment is not criticizing you for things that you said publicly on your show where you're a public figure. This is not harassment, dude. It's especially not harassment when it's people talking about you rather than to you. Big distinction there. Provided they aren't saying things that could get unwarranted action be taken against you by other parties, like doxing and stuff like that, it's totally warranted for them to critique you for shit that you say on the internet. You're a public figure. What the fuck do you expect? You go live on a podcast and you say, my kid contracted Giardia, and then you go on to say, when someone asks how you get it, oh, you get it from eating poop. When someone sees that and they're like, wait, his kid ate dog shit and got a parasite, you have no one to fucking blame for that but yourself. They're merely critiquing you for something that you said on your stream. So this entire narrative of harassment is fucking bullshit. If you are actually getting harassed by anyone within this community, you can't claim that it is like to blame on the entire community unless you have any proof that they actually spurred this person who's doing so, which you never fucking do, nor do you ever provide any proof of actual harassment. Just like people leaving mean comments or critiquing shit that you say. It's always that.
Them and just trying to ruin their life. It's something that's become quite common on the internet, and something that Reddit, who is the main host of such activities,
they're not trying to ruin your life. Come on, no one gives a shit about your life.
Take, for example, right here, H3H3_, which is the new Snark page. The top post on this page is from somebody named Bad Empanada, which we'll learn more about.
Yes.
It says, Bad Empanada with another banger. Quote, you're the best parents I've ever seen. It said house slave Abdullah Ayad.
Is this supposed to be like evidence of harassment?
After CPS visited them because their kids contracted parasites from dog feces.
That's literally, their kids contracted parasites from dog feces. Yeah, I showed a clip where you had said that. True.
Clients frequently advocate for genocide of Arabs while Ayad sits obediently in silence. He is a tame domestic animal. This is just literally, anyone of a normal disposition can see plainly how fucking insane this is. It has 400
Why is it insane?
3 hours.
Are you going to explain why it's insane? Okay, here's why it's not insane. For one, CPS was factually visited Ethan Klein because Ethan Klein factually said on his podcast that his kids had contracted a parasite from what he said was ingesting dog shit. This was factually said. Two, now I don't particularly care about American sensibilities regarding the term house slave because what house slave means is someone who is of an oppressed group, yet who betrays other members of that group in order to maintain their own position within the social hierarchy. That is precisely what he does. 100% true. This guy sits there while Ethan Klein does Zionist propaganda and says nothing. He's paid by Ethan Klein to like praise him and talk about how awesome and cool he is. Here's what he said to Ethan Klein, like the most fucking gushing crap you'll ever see anyone see.
I know it doesn't need to be said, but you guys are truly the best parents I think I've ever seen. I know clearly this doesn't need to be said, but
Listen, thank you. I appreciate you saying that.
So yeah, that's why I called him a house slave. Now, house slave is a term that is very much like capo. It is a term of modern relevance, very much modern relevance. And yeah, calling him a house slave or a capo is very accurate. Ethan Klein in the past has called Jews who support Palestine, he's called them capos. He said that Jewish Voice for Peace are capos. House slave is functionally the exact same term as capo. It's like a collaborator who betrays other people in their group in order to obtain personal benefit. In this case, he is paid by Ethan Klein to be a yes man in order to obtain personal benefit at the expense of other members of his group, Arabs. 100% true and warranted. So like, Ethan Klein cannot explain why it's wrong for me to say that. He just says any normal person will find this bad. Why? How? Explain. He cannot. Is that really the best example that you got of you being like harassed by this subreddit? Is that like me insulting one of your crew members for completely valid reasons? Here is a clip of Ethan Klein comparing Jewish Voice for Peace to capos.
There was Jewish collaborators with fucking Nazis.
Ethan, don't do that, please. Don't say that the Jews' Voice for Peace are akin to capos. Like that's.
I'm telling you that the mere existence of Jewish voices it's not a leg to stand on. I don't understand that.
But
of course there's going to be
the most important component here.
It's like you're tokenizing a few Israelis. It seems silly.
Okay. So Ethan Klein's like fake outrage at me calling this guy a collaborator is obviously performative bullshit. This guy is just such a slimy little snake, isn't he? One second he'll call Jews who are pro-Palestine capos, and next second he's waxing lyrical about being outraged about me calling this guy a house slave, which is functionally the exact same term. And I ended it calling him a tame domestic animal, which is what he fucking is. They have tamed this guy. They have house-trained ABAR better than they ever train their fucking dogs. This guy sits there obediently doing whatever they want him to do for a paycheck. Whatever his own views are, I'm sure that they are not in line with Ethan Klein's, but he just sits there, takes home whatever they pay him the whole time, and says nothing as they do Zionist propaganda, as they invade his own country, Lebanon, as well, as Israel has invaded his own country, Lebanon. So yeah, there's nothing crazy or wild about that story. It's insulting for sure, but to call that like harassment or anything, it's not fucking normal to insult people. You're allowed to insult people, Ethan. Calling them a collaborator is an opinion. Using terms like house slave or capo is an opinion, one that you yourself have expressed in the past. You obviously don't think it's wrong. It's so fucking hilarious that he's pretending that it is now.
The active sub of absolutely deranged individuals.
That's the deranged individual.
Is that the subreddit?
The most deranged thing ever.
Community is being legitimized by creators such as Hassan, such as Denim, such as Mike from PA, and all these leftist commentators who think they can get one up on me by sicking and participating and legitimizing the most crazed psychopaths on the internet.
What's the most crazed?
I bring this to YouTube because I respect the H3 snark, and
this guy's Adam McIntyre. Hila Klein just said that Adam McIntyre should be disappeared, which is a reference to the Israeli practice of disappearing Palestinians who are then never seen again and are presumed dead. Just want to note that. This is the person who Ethan is trying to claim is like targeting him and attacking him. Hila Klein literally said on their podcast that he should be disappeared, unironically. There's a clip for like all of this. Like, I don't understand how he just has to hide this shit from his viewers. Like, just watch. They say this shit on their podcast so brazenly.
It was like on Bradford being like, I respect Snark.
Adam McIntyre needs to just like disappear. Piece of shit, like of the lowest order.
I mean, they should have bleeped this one out with the 30-second thing that they have that gets rid of stuff. I don't know why they didn't. So yeah.
Believe that they're being silenced. And I saw on the H3 Snark that Ethan had uploaded Instagram stories about Mika's rhetoric. It says,
and about the H3 Snark subreddit. For more than a year now, Ethan's been talking about it and saying how toxic this place is, how they promote harassment, doxing, stalking, and why it should be banned.
I believe these Snark subreddits on Reddit should be banned. It's literally fostering the most psychopathic. It encourages harassment, doxing, stalking. It's just...
He doesn't provide evidence for it, obviously. Dude, the reason why he's doing this is because this is all your paranoid delusions. None of what you say about this subreddit is actually happening. It's people criticizing you. It's people who don't like your content, who think you're stupid, criticizing you, which they are perfectly within their right to do. This happens to every creator, more or less. What do you fucking expect? That you were just going to be able to do like Zionist propaganda fucking day in, day out, week in, week out with no pushback from anyone. You claim that it's like doxing, you claim that it's like harassment, and you show no evidence of this. At best, what you have are like individuals.
It's fine as long as
At best, what you can point to is like a couple of individuals who have harassed you. You can't actually point to the subreddits doing so.
the Destiny subreddit.
I think it's time to hold all of them accountable. Here, for example, is Den's, aka Hassan Waiting Room, watching Bad Empanada talk about the state of our house and how we take care of our kids. Let's take a look.
He lets his dogs shit all over his mansion, and he just leaves the shit on the floor, something that is probably related to the fact that his former housekeeper is suing him for a number of different reasons. Yeah, everything said here is true. Assume he doesn't actually have a housekeeper anymore. I mean, we already played the clip showing this. Absolutely, he lost his extra housekeeper. So now the house is just like covered in dog shit. And he has kids, and his kids like crawl into the dog shit, and God forbid, I don't know what they do with it. He himself said that his kid is crawling everywhere and putting everything in his or her mouth. How do you possibly play this after you said that on your podcast, acting like what I'm saying isn't true? If they eat it, or if it's just from like contact with it with their hands or something. But they contracted a parasite that I had previously never heard of in my life called Giardia from the dog shit that is all over the house.
dude, how is it that like maybe once a week I look into what Ethan Klein's been up to, and every time...
How is this wrong? How is this bad? It's just fundamentally true.
More and more terrible shit.
He just plays shit for his dumb fuck audience that they won't question at all.
This is where Ethan tells a story about his family getting Giardia.
We already have Mode Mondays. Now we have Shit Saturdays.
Also, this is not a joking matter, by the way. It can be very severe.
I love how he left the fucking Peter Griffin voice line in. That's awesome.
I mean, much like many other illnesses, it's very, very, very dangerous when infants get the same sicknesses that adults get. There are lots of things that you can get as an adult. You're totally fine. You'll be A-okay. No problem. A child, a small infant that has no immune system, shouldn't be catching anything.
Now, at this point, as he continues, notice the chat is almost in complete universal agreement. Call CPS. Call child endangerment. CPS, social services, bro.
Who fucking cares? It doesn't matter what the chat did, if any of them did it. It does not matter, because quite clearly, one, what you said yourself on your stream warranted a visit from CPS. Two, what the CPS officer saw in your house warrants a further investigation because he's continuing his investigation. So, yeah, you're blaming these people like, did they call CPS? This is not proof of calling fucking CPS, obviously. Just like it's not fucking proof of anything when people in your community say, oh, you need to call the cops on Bad Empanada. Like, they do this all the time. Ethan Klein has at multiple times implied that, like, I am wanted in multiple countries. For what? We don't know. But his fucking fans are constantly like, Bad Empanada needs to be arrested. Bad Empanada needs to be committed to a mental institution, all this sort of thing. And I guarantee you they have called the cops and stuff like that. They have trying their best to make something happen. But nothing's happened, obviously, because there's no fucking basis for it. Do you know why Ethan Klein got a visit from CPS? Because there is an actual basis for it. Random people making bullshit calls is rarely considered some sort of real basis for any real action by like any government fucking agency. The one exception is like swatting attempts about active shooters. In America, that tends to work the most. But this is not that at all, obviously. So spare us the victim narrative. If CPS was called, it was warranted. And clearly the CPS themselves consider an investigation to be warranted given that they have not stopped. Self-victimization. How about instead of self-victimization, use some introspection and ask yourself, why does CPS think that more investigation is warranted?
Yes, that's child endangerment. Okay, if his kids have Giardia, they need to be taken away. Actual worst father ever, et cetera, et cetera. I'll let the chat play for you, but you can see just how crazed this community is. And once again, this is Denim's chat. From the first, the call came on.
Oh, boo fucking who, the self-victimization. Your community does this to everyone else. So much worse. None of this is evidence of fucking anything, and you obviously know it. Please try to fucking sue her for this. Where's it gonna go? Nowhere. Nowhere. It's not illegal to tip CPS off about something.
the 3rd.
No wonder his house is covered in dog shit, and his neglected children raised by nannies have contracted parasites previously unknown to science from the feces. I wonder why he skipped over all of this, because everything that I said in this story, which by the way, notice how he never. This is what Ethan Klein always does. He always ignores the actual content of what he is responding to pick out a few things and try to frame his enemies as like crazed psychopath killers. He does this with me every time. He never actually responds to the substance. Instead, he like picks out like a couple of things where I say things that are completely warranted, but that are like personal attacks on him. And he ignores the substance, which is me talking about the actual issues and refuting him on that. Every fucking time, he's just like, can you believe this guy said that my kids crawl around in dog shit, something that I implied myself on my podcast? And he ignores like the 50 minutes of the rest of the video where I debunked his bullshit. Every time it's the same. Compiled by his crew.
No wonder this motherfucker's always sick. Yeah, it all makes sense now.
By the way, these people can't keep their talking points straight. On one hand, it's we don't raise our kids and our house is just run by nannies and housekeepers. But on the other hand, we also keep our house so dirty that there's dog shit everywhere. I mean, what are the housekeepers and nannies doing?
It all makes
so the housekeeper, as has been reported in multiple places, the housekeeper filed a lawsuit against you a month ago, alleging that she was fired 2 days after she asked for some time off to get and recover from hernia surgery. So that's where the housekeeper has gone. That's what's happened here. The question is very easily answered. That's at least we suspect the housekeeper is gone, given the lawsuit.
That's why he doesn't care about Palestinian children when he is neglecting his own. How is this happening? How is it happening? How is this happening?
I have a 10-month-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old who are in school. Of course, I'm sick all the time. Once again, these childless people pretend that this is uncommon when, of course, anybody with any sense who's being honest. The thing is, these people are knowingly lying. They know that they're lying.
Who's knowingly lying? Who? Which specific claim is a lie?
It makes no sense what they're saying, but they do it anyway because, as you can see in the chat, and Denham's endorses this clearly, as you can see, she's not moderating this at all, and it's pretty much 100% of the comments saying call CPS on them. Their kid should be taken away. That she believes that it's justified to break up our family. This disgusting fucking human being.
She never said anything like that herself, obviously. If you could hold people accountable for what their chat says or what their subreddits say, you'd be in fucking jail, Ethan. Your fans have threatened my family. Your fans have fucking tracked down the minor sisters of people you've harassed on your stream. They've tracked them down. They've tracked down their place where they go to school. They've threatened them. They've said they're going to kill them and their parents. So, cry me a fucking river. Her chat, like, saying, oh, we're going to call CPS. Oh, someone should call CPS. Is not even remotely like that. In fact, a CPS call is warranted.
Forced by Hassan and the entire left community on Twitch, who is protected and elevated by Twitch, is on her platform right now advocating for our children to be forcibly removed from us by Child Protective.
If your children are taken away after a CPS investigation, then clearly it would be warranted, Ethan, because you are not telling us what they found.
Services. Denim is such an evil...
And for one, why, I have to ask, why the fuck would CPS take kids away after this? Wouldn't CPS simply tell you, hey, you need to be cleaner. You need to clean up the house. You need to take better care of your kids. I don't think they would immediately go to taking them away anyway. Like going to that immediately, just hysteria. It's like people talk about how terrified they are of filing their taxes wrong. And this is a great analogy because it's about as consequential as that. What happens when you file your taxes wrong is you get a notice saying, hey, you owe us money, send us the money, please. And then you pay the money and everything's fine. Dude, this is nowhere near as like apocalyptic as he's framing it. He's trying to make it out like he got swatted or something like that. It's not like that at all. If there's an investigation going by CPS, clearly they saw something that warrants the investigation. And the most likely outcome of this, if they do find that there is enough wrong to take action, is that they would tell them, clean up your house better. We're going to come back in a month and see how things are going. That's it. They're not going to just take your fucking kids away. Like, give us a fucking break. When they take the kids away, if it's like literal, like fucking child abuse, like physical abuse and stuff like that, not this.
Person, she is not responsible enough to have a platform. She should not be allowed to broadcast videos.
You're kidding me. Let's show you Ethan Klein on his fucking podcast, just bringing up the Instagram of people's mothers and ordering his fans to go and attack them. And this person shouldn't, for watching a video which accurately described what you said on your own podcast, she should not have a platform. Give me a fucking break, Ethan. Give us a break. So this is Ethan Klein intentionally doxing a random guy who commented a negative thing on Healing Klein's Instagram.
Glad that phase, he said, I'm glad that phase is behind me. Enjoy hell, Joe Coop said. Let's start David.
He's like, this is his name. This is where he lives. This is his parents. Take a look, everyone.
Here he is, if anyone, let's see if I know, can identify him at all.
people saying,
let's see if I can identify him at all.
I need to let go of the whole Ethan Klein thing. Fuck you. This was sent to my sister today. She's 16 years old. These have not stopped. They haven't slowed down. This is the type of shit my family receives every single day. So shout out to Ethan Klein that my mom, who is an art teacher at an impoverished public school, has to deal with this shit. You are truly the morally superior YouTuber.
So who should not have a platform? Guy who incites his audience to attack random Instagram commenters for calling Hila Klein a Nazi, who gets their family and their minor sisters harassed by their fan base. Or people who said in a chat, CPS should be called because of what Ethan Klein himself said about what happened to his kids on his own podcast. Something that is legitimately warranted if it's true. Which again, is it true? Well, I would say given that Ethan Klein himself said on his podcast, it might be. But one of these things is clearly warranted. The other thing is someone being actually irresponsible with their platform.
Ever again. Now you might wonder, what is it they're referring to? On the podcast, I was telling a story about we adopted a new dog about a month ago, and she was having diarrhea, which ended up being a extremely common stomach parasite that causes diarrhea. It's extremely common, and it's very easy to address. In fact, Ducky, our Yorkie, when we got him as a puppy, also had Giardia, and we treated him the same way. Let's see what I said about it. And Olive has Giardia, which is a bacterial infection in the intestines that makes you have diarrhea.
And Olive has this?
Olive has this, yeah. She came to us with it. Okay. She had diarrhea, and
oh, poor baby.
Ducky came to us with that too. So she has Giardia, so we have her on an antibiotic, but we had to wait until Monday, which is today. We just got it today. Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has Giardia. Again, any reasonable person or parent
So again, he edited out the next part, which was Hila has Giardia. Let's watch what he edited out. We're going to watch the part that he left out of the video where he specifically says that he believes that this is contracted from eating shit and that he and his wife also have it, which is what CPS would have seen if they thought that a visit was warranted. This is what he's leaving out to manipulate his dumb audience. Leave out the part where the whole family was getting it.
That age, he has Giardia.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
and now Hila has Giardia.
Shut. For real?
And now I think this morning I had diarrhea.
Oh my God.
What can I do to not get it from you?
I'm trying
to, because I'm not trying to get it.
No, crank the AC maybe?
Is it?
It's extremely ridiculous to get. You have to ingest my poop.
I wonder why people think that Ethan Klein, his whole family, got Giardia from eating dog poop. Is it because he said it himself on his fucking podcast? Yes, it is. He's smiling while he says this, by the way. I mean, dude, there's something weird here. There's some weird, like, scat thing going on here. Oof. I'll keep playing that clip for now just to outline how much he's lying here.
Understands that having a 10-month-old that is just learning to crawl, is crawling around everywhere, putting everything in his mouth. I mean, these kids will literally just lick the floor, put anything in the world in their mouth, and that's completely normal. That's what having a toddler is like. Olive is a black Labrador. She sheds a lot.
That's not what you said, though. You said you have to eat poop.
She's inside, she's outside, she's very clean, but the point I'm making, again, which all reasonable people understand, is that
I don't believe that she's clean at all.
Giardia can actually be spread just from a surface. So if her bum ends up on the floor, or she sheds some hair, or she sat on...
Notice how the narrative has completely changed from what he initially said, which was what I and others were actually responding to. Like, the only way that what we thought was unwarranted is if you never said that, okay? We don't have to give you the grace of, like, assuming that you were lying about your own fucking recollection of events to then correct yourself later. You said that your kids got Giardia, or at least one of your kids got Giardia, and then you said that you believed it was from eating dog shit. You can't claim now, post hoc, that people are overreacting and saying that your kids got Giardia from dog shit when you said that. Clearly, you implied it yourself right fucking here. You were just a liar.
Boy, you know, it could be a number of different things. If Sonny's crawling around putting everything in his mouth, it seems like a pretty reasonable suspect. If he's having diarrhea, we're like, oh man, maybe he got Giardia from Olive, which is actually commonplace to happen. And despite what Denham says, it is not certain death. It's actually completely normal to happen, and it's very easy to treat. Now, spoiler alert.
It's okay. It's easy to treat, guys. It's okay. It's okay.
When we got all the poop tests back, that He never had Giardia even, which I announced on the show, which they conveniently forget. So the only person...
Yeah, why are we like obliged to like check every second of your show to find out about the diagnosis of your kid's poop? You don't do that for anyone else. No one reasonably believes that. Like you never play full clips of people. You never address their whole arguments, and we're supposed to scrounge through every fucking second of your show for your oversharing moments to update our fans on whether or not your kid actually has what you thought they had, which was a shit-eating parasite or not. No, Ethan. No, that's not how this fucking works. Give me a break. And for two, the mere fact that you considered the possibility that your kid had eaten shit and gotten a parasite from it, even if they didn't end up having this parasite, that is already more than enough to like shit on you for. The mere fact that you said your kid had a parasite and then you went on to say, well, you get this parasite from eating shit, because to you, I guess the kid eating shit seemed likely. The mere fact that you said that is more than enough fucking like reason for us to cover that. Like, give me a fucking break, Ethan. You can't just say this shit in public and then act like everyone is lying when they take you at your word.
That ever even had Giardia was Olive. So Sonny was having diarrhea essentially, and that was and that's why they called it CPS. Because my 10-month-old baby, who's just starting to eat solid food, had diarrhea. That's why these people think it's justified.
No, they probably look. If someone called CPS, which I doubt anyone at all related to this community is called CPS, but even if they did, if they called CPS and showed them this clip, and CPS thought that this clip was enough to warrant a visit, then CPS clearly has some, they're in the right. They're in the right to visit you, aren't they? How aren't they? How is this clip not warranting of a CPS visit? You implied within it that your kids somehow ingested dog shit and contracted a parasite from it.
You send an agent of one of the most overworked, underfunded, underappreciated community service workers in the entire fucking world to come and waste their time because my son...
Now it's like, oh, I care about the resources. Even if you care about the resources for CPS, maybe you should be against the military funding for Israel. Those resources go to CPS then.
When in the city of Los Angeles, there are kids and families that absolutely need help from people like this.
So are you saying not that like the visit was unwarranted, rather that there are more higher priority cases than yours? Well, that's a bit of a Freudian slip if I do say so myself.
And this guy's wasting his fucking time coming to my house and doing an investigation on my kid.
If he's investigating you, then he's not wasting his time because he clearly saw something that he believed warranted further investigation.
Because my 10-month-old baby had diarrhea. By the way, Bad Empanada was recently banned for 7 days for playing a video game.
That's not true. I was not banned at all. Let alone for 7 days. I don't even think you can get banned from YouTube for 7 days. That's just a lie.
Both play as Hamas on October 7th.
All that happened is YouTube deleted one of my videos, nothing else.
And he went to a military compound in that game and said he was, quote, looking for secretaries to kill. He was looking for Ela, who was a secretary in the IDF.
Ethan Klein is complaining about a video game where you attack a military base because it's Palestinians, and that means that it's like Hamas terrorism. Incredible. He's like, this is Bad Empanada. And Ethan, what do you want to imply? Is the beard perhaps a bit Islamic, Ethan? Looking quite Muslim in that picture, aren't I, Ethan? Kind of terroristic, huh? We know what you think. We know what you mean to imply.
To murder her in a game where you play Hamas. This is the type of person that is being elevated.
I like to pay tribute to Ethan Klein and the new Twitch TOS that declares Zionism. Zionist is slur. I'd like to pay tribute to him by playing the Personnel Acts video game where you kill Zionist soldiers as a Palestinian resistance fighter.
What the fuck is wrong? Like, he's like, look at this clip, it's self-evidently bad. When you kill Zionist soldiers as a resistance fighter. Ethan, it's a video game where you're a combatant and you fight combatants. How is that wrong? What's wrong about it, Ethan? Why are you just presenting this as it's self-evidently bad? You think that attacking Israeli soldiers is wrong, Ethan? Big fucking self-report there.
Anyways, are these Israelis? They're just standing there? I mean, is the Israeli army a bunch of Ethan Kleins? Like,
why would you leave this in? What is this supposed to be?
What fucking Ozempic binge? I don't understand what's going on around them.
He said I'm on Ozempic. Oh, he implied that I'm stupid. Oh my God, is that the best that you've got? This is the harassment. Well, everyone who you fight in the Personnel Acts video game is a combatant. There are no civilians. So he's just lying here. He's just straight up lying about this game.
I give this game my seal of approval.
What's wrong with giving my seal of approval to a game where you fight against IDF soldiers, Ethan? You have no explain this to us.
again, who posted a story saying, I'm the one who called CPS on Ethan Klein. I want CPS to take his kids away because they are seriously in danger. This is, once again, Bad Empanada, who's being elevated.
Ethan Klein, do you believe that I really called CPS, or do you think that I posted that, which I didn't, by the way, it's fake. If I did post it, though, do you think I really called CPS, or did I just post that to play into your fucking absurd delusions where there's like a secretive cabal of YouTube and Twitch creators who are like directing a Reddit harassment campaign against you? Aren't you supposed to be a funny man, Ethan? Aren't you supposed to be someone with wit? I think you should not believe everything you see and take it at face value. Ethan, people like playing a joke on you, like I'm Spartacus sort of thing with this CPS call, that to be clear, there's still no evidence that it ever happened, but if it did, it was clearly warranted, as we have proven. People playing a joke on you because you are like having paranoid delusions about a mass harassment campaign against you and being like, haha, I called CPS, I'm the one who did it. You pretend to take that seriously and include it in your complaint video as if it's real. You are just such a fucking moron. Your fans just have to be lobotomized to buy this shit.
By Hassan, Matt Lee, Denims, and tons of creators left.
Oh my god, they talked to someone who played a video game where you kill RDF soldiers? They talked to someone who called my staff member a collaborator? They talked to someone who joked that he called CPS, something that is obviously not illegal nor actionable in any way, shape, or form? I'm hyperventilating. Harassment campaign proven.
It's all over the internet.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone else, please welcome Bad Empanada.
Bad Empanada's been going crazy at Ethan on the second channel. Well, yeah, because Ethan Klein is too afraid to talk to Bad Empanada or talk about Bad Empanada or watch any of his videos. So fucking milk that guy.
I mean, yeah, they gotcha.
Dude, hell yeah, Bad Empanada.
By the way, he's still avoiding actually responding to the substance of my videos. Instead, he's doing this. Ethan Klein, his response is just like ad hominem, like trying to paint me as like the controller of a mass harassment campaign against him or whatever, rather than actually responding to the substance of my videos. Because he's a fucking pussy. He knows that he's wrong about the things that actually matter.
Can we just like
this dude, Bad Empanada? If you guys know who that is. He's like actually psychotic.
I love this video. He's like just listen to his voice. He's not having a good time.
He's been making a lot of hate videos about me and calling Ela terrorist and baby killer and all.
Dude, every time Ethan Klein brings up Bad Empanada, I like him a little bit more. That's the truth. I didn't really have strong opinions on him, and every time he brings him up, I'm like, stop making him sound base, man. Come on.
Good point, Ethan.
Bad Empanada has put out a video about H3H3, and this is just for my own pleasure that we're gonna watch it, because whenever Bad Empanada attacks H3H3, H3H3 has like a mental breakdown.
He's just like, he's completely right. He's literally the mental breakdown. Oh my god, 100% true.
And every time I watch this, it causes them to have even more of a mental breakdown.
On this Turk versus moron, he made a fucking Willie Mac show. Sloppy to Willie Mac show made a video covering the Gaza genocide because he noticed that putting Hassan's name in the title gets him more views than usual. It went about as well as you'd expect. Oh, dude. Okay. Critical support to Bad Empanada has gone up by wide margins now. Okay. Oh, this is on the Bad Empanada live channel. He didn't put this on the normal channel. Oh my lord. Oh, dude. Bad Empanada went from bad to good Empanada.
Oh my god,
Bad
dude.
Empanada went from Bad Empanada to base.
Like, all that Ethan Klein does is ad hominem, trying to paint people as like masterminds behind the harassment campaign against him. And then he tries to link me, in this case, the one who is using for this, with like these other people he has a vendetta against. And he's like trying to guilt by association. For one, you never showed that any of your attacks on me are even remotely true. All that you've done is shown absolute fucking nothing burgers and tried to paint them as like clearly horrible when they're obviously not. And now you're like, these people watched Bad Empanada's videos. Yeah? And you cannot actually deal with the content of my videos nor theirs, so you try to avoid doing so by just ridiculous ad hominem bullshit like, this guy's like a terrorist member of Hamas Hezbollah. Oh my god. And these other guys like him. Ad hominem, then guilt by association, never actually dealing with anything that we actually say about you. It's just a fucking joke. He's such a fucking little moron.
Now, trust me, I would pursue legal action against Bad Empanada, whose MO is essentially defamation.
No, you wouldn't, you
He actually fled to Argentina, like his Nazi...
I fled to Argentina? Did I, Ethan? Why? Did that happen? When? How? From what? Tell us more. Be more specific, because some of us actually can sue you, because your claims are false and mine aren't. And the reason why you don't take legal action against me, your claims here are obviously wrong. You can sue people in Argentina. It's even easier than it is in the US. Argentina has much stronger defamation laws in the US. It's actually a criminal offense offense in Argentina to do defamation, if you didn't know. So he could sue me under criminal law in Argentina, which is a lot easier than suing people under civil law. You don't even actually need to pay for the process because it's at the cost of the police and the detectives who will investigate it. So, why don't you, Ethan? Why not? Because what I say about you is fucking true. I would sue him for defamation. He said that my kids crawl over the floor and they ate shit and they got a parasite from it. What would happen if you had to use that against me in court and like say this was false in court? We would play the video where you said that happened, Ethan. You can't sue me, not because you can't, you very much can. Just as I could sue you in the US even though we're in different countries, it's that what I've said about you is fundamentally true. And this will be proven in court easily. You can't sue people for statements of opinion. Like, for example, if I call Gila a terrorist, that's a statement of opinion. What you can actually sue people for is statements of fact that they got wrong and that they refuse to retract. Like, for example, Ethan Klein's children contracted giardia, according to him, from crawling on the floor and putting everything in his mouth. And then Ethan Klein went on to say that you can only get this from ingesting feces. That's not a defamatory statement because I'm just reciting what you yourself said. It's not. It is a factual statement because I am, again, citing what you said. Very simple. And again, I have offered to you before that I will make myself suable in any jurisdiction that you want so that we can litigate this. It would be amazing. Please try and convince the court that I falsely implied that you had said that your kids crawled across the floor and ate shit and got parasites from it when you yourself said that it happened on a stream. I'll just play the clip, win instantly. Thank you. Get in contact. I've offered you this multiple times, Ethan. Ethan Klein's entire MO is frivolous legal threats, and I think he knows that I would play a ball and I would take it to the trial stage and he would get fucked. He relies on suing people who are in my position. Like, if he sued me, I could just crowdfund the legal fees and go to court. And I would argue that what I said was factually correct. So, I mean, you can't bully me like you want to bully other people. Doing that to me wouldn't affect my life at all. I would pay nothing. Other people would donate and they would pay the fees for me. The lawyers would do all the fucking work. I would just sit here going around my day, waiting for the inevitable verdict where they rule against you and you pay all my fees, Ethan, and then we would graciously refund everyone who contributed. That is what would happen. You know it would happen. That's why you don't fucking do it. Your lawyers are probably arguing with you every day like, Ethan, we can't fucking do this, Ethan. This is frivolous, Ethan. We can't do this shit. And yet, you keep going. Yeah, I'm sure, Ethan, I would get sued because someone called CPS to report something that someone, not me to be clear, called CPS to report something that you yourself had said on stream. Then CPS investigated you, and they found that there was enough basis to it to continue their investigation. Yeah, Ethan, I'm sure you could sue me for that. I'm sure. That would work very well. Why don't you fucking try? You can sue me in Argentina. You can sue me in the US. Ethan, where do you want me to go? Do you want me to go live in Brazil for a while? Do you want me to go live in the US for a while? Canada? Mexico? Tell me where and we'll do this. Just say it. I will gladly go there, wherever you want, whatever jurisdiction you want. And we can go to court and we can litigate whether or not what I said about you is true. Let's go.
The predecessors, and unfortunately, it is very difficult to get to and sue.
Nazi predecessors. Gila Klein is a fucking IDF veteran. No one is more Nazi than her.
People in Argentina, so enjoy the
It's not
community.
difficult to sue people in fucking Argentina, Ethan. Type defamation lawyer English speaking into Google. Find one. Do you want me to help you? I can help you. Get in contact. I'll help you find like a good one. Let's go, Ethan. Let's do it.
Of Nazi refugees, you will fit right in there, my friend. But don't worry, guys. Denim says, even if this did happen, it's nothing to worry about because children actually don't remember anything. Isn't that fucking awesome? Look at this. This might be the dumbest, most pathetic thing I've ever heard in my life. Here's Denims on the floor. And then the part
This is just him trying to frame this as if it is like swatting. A guy with a clipboard asking your kids questions is not a fucking traumatic experience, Ethan. Give us a fucking break. You did not get swatted. Armed men did not fucking put guns in your kids' faces. Gila Klein went on a raid where soldiers put guns in kids' faces. That's the IDF's thing. You're not going to reverse victim yourself here. Gila Klein did this to people and helped to organize doing this to people. You are not a victim of this. Swatting, raids, that's what happens to Palestinians. A nice man with a clipboard asking your kids questions is not a fucking traumatic experience. Give us a break.
My opinion crossed the line was like, so I'm going to visit your kids at school and ask them questions. And I says, you're not fucking doing that. I mean, we both were like, that's not happening.
No,
not going.
terrifying.
You are not doing that. So he agreed to come visit our house
next week
when the kids are at home because he needs to fucking interview our kids.
as a matter of procedure.
But I was like, I really don't want you to create any bad memory here for them. Like, they are 5 and 3. They don't understand this shit. So I told him,
create any bad memory for them. You're not forming memories at 3 years old, and it's very rare that you're forming memories at 5 years old.
It's a dumb response, but I mean, a CPS visit is not fucking traumatic. Give me a fucking break.
15, you have maybe 1 or 2 memories.
And again, the CPS visit is clearly warranted anyway. So give us a fucking break. The CPS would not be continuing to investigate unless they had a real reason to do so.
Talking to a random stranger once isn't really memorable for a kid. There's a wide variation across methods, cohorts. The average age of adults' earliest memories.
I don't know why the fuck this is just dumb. Just say a random guy asking your children questions with a clipboard in his hand is not fucking the same thing as like a swatting raid. Fucking trauma is what Healer Klein helped to give to Palestinian children, not that.
That the average adult starts forming memories at 3. What is happening? What universe do we exist in where this is a popular creator? One more time, guys, because it's absolutely fucking unreal. One more time, guys.
There's a wide variation across
Oh my, he's just using this as, in the end, Ethan Klein is using this as a vector to attack the same fucking people he's been trying to attack the whole time. The content nuke failed completely, so now he's doing the fucking frivolous lawsuit against fucking Reddit nuke. The same thing that he has laughed at other people for doing for years, he is doing now. It's a stupid line of argumentation, but ultimately what this is him failing completely to do anything to Hassan or any of Hassan's friends or anyone who has said it, with the content nuke. And now going on this fucking pathetic, fake, fucking mass Reddit harassment campaign against him as a result of his content nuke failing so fucking badly to do anything. Now he's just trying to form this victim narrative. And this is the result. Like, the content nuke was such a backfire on him that now he's claiming that fucking, Reddit is covering up gang stalking campaign against him, led by Hassan Piker and Bad Empanada. He's using CPS visiting and investigating him not as a wake-up call to take better care of his kids, but rather as a reason to just screech and moan at the same fucking people he's been screeching and moaning about what is ultimately a disagreement on Israel-Palestine this whole fucking time. He is so unable to talk about the actual substance of the issue of Israel-Palestine that he's doing this. That is what this is. That is the root of this. His attempt to deal with the facts in his content nuke went so fucking badly for him that this is the result. A sad, insane self-victimization campaign, arguing with, shadows about how there is a fucking gang stalking campaign against him on Reddit. Oh my god. Framing anyone who critiques him as part of, an elaborate gang stalking campaign. I can't believe the fucking narrative that he legitimately thinks his kids are going to be taken away, rather than CPS telling him to clean the fucking house.
It's cohorts. The average age of adults' earliest memories is 3.
I just want to be clear here. The title here, Stalkers. A stalker is not someone who engages with your public-facing content that you yourself choose to make public as a public figure. A stalker is not someone who responds to who critiques your podcast. A stalker would be someone who tries to find things out about you that aren't public, stuff like that. Finds you in real life, stuff like that. A stalker is not fucking someone who just watches your podcast and critiques you based on that. God, just endless self-victimization. Okay, this part is bad. This argument by Denims is bad. It's a bad argument, but as I said, the argument here is not this. It's CPS. It's not a fucking FBI fucking SWAT guy with a rifle. It's a guy with a clipboard asking him questions. These people know how to deal with children. Give me a fucking break.
How exactly am I supposed to get through to a person and convince her wrong when she's literally disproving herself on her own stream and then ignoring what just came out of her mouth 5 seconds earlier? Her defense for sending the CPS to break up our family and to interrogate our 3-5-year-old is that, don't worry, kids don't remember.
Interrogate. Why do you keep using this term interrogate? It's an interview. He's trying to frame it like he's a black kid who just got erroneously arrested by the cops or something at gunpoint. Dude, you're not. You're a rich white guy who got visited by CPS for completely valid reasons based on what you yourself said in the podcast. CPS are not cops. They aren't an armed fucking agency or anything. It's a dude with a clipboard.
Her stuff, which just also, besides being pathetically, sociopathically insane, not to care about the well-being of kids, just demonstrably false.
And just to be clear, she didn't have any fucking part in this. Give us a fucking break. She did not call them. Shut the fuck up. You're just desperately trying to blame this on everyone else. If you think me or her or other people did this, then fucking report us to the cops. Not that it would go anywhere, because it's obviously not a fucking crime to tip CPS off about someone.
Knows that the most formative years of a child's life is around that age of 4, 5, 6, 7, when kids really take in their environment.
Yeah, dude, your kids are going to be traumatized.
Pretending as if interrogating.
Your kids are going to be traumatized by having to do with clipboard.
3 and 5-year-old sons couldn't.
The only one who gets traumatized are the kids who were subjected to the IDF raids that Peter Klein helped to organize in the West Bank.
Can possibly cause any damage because they can't remember is the most insane, monstrous thing I could even imagine somebody to say about this. And it's just, beyond being insanely dumb, it's just callous, pathetic, and, well, really speaks for itself. It's the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard. Now, moving to Reddit, this whole theme of needing to call CPS on my kids is something that takes place on Reddit, originally from a subreddit called H3Snark. On this subreddit, they have doxed us, harassed our employees, our Teddy Fresh.
Provide any evidence of this. He will not. It hasn't happened. How have they doxed us? How have they harassed your employees? You provide zero evidence of this.
Employees who are not even related to the show, gone after crew members' parents, my parents, basically every conceivable way that you can be harassed.
Show us.
Actually, they...
Where's the doxing especially? That's a big claim. Where is it?
The subreddit was closed indeed. However, not by Reddit. According to Reddit, this subreddit is still fully open and operational and is committing breaking no rules. What actually happened is that somebody within their community started informing on them, and we have these screenshots, which I have not shown before, but
we have these screenshots. Let's check them out.
One of the mods is talking about a person named Sturgeon, which is also a co-mod. And here they say, Adi explained to me that Sturgeon had made a fake post, the quote Ramadan post, and had become more and more unhinged. Here the mods are talking about another fellow moderator of theirs and actively covering up the fact that their mod faked a post on the H3Snark subreddit. What happened was this story got picked up. That we were banning people wishing a happy Ramadan. We were removing the posts and banning them. And
what the fuck is this?
This whole narrative of me being Islamophobic started to form on their subreddit.
Dude, people on your subreddit make posts accusing me of having been charged with child sex crimes. And your smoking gun here is that someone made a post accusing you of deleting posts about Ramadan in your subreddit, and you're presenting this like it's massive, huge evidence, while you look like fucking Popeye, no less. This is Popeye. Ethan Klein Popeye. Look at that. Fucking Popeye. Jesus. Ethan, are you fucking insane? It's a Reddit post where, at worst, even if we accept your narrative, someone just said that your subreddit was deleting posts about Ramadan. Even if that's false, how are you possibly presenting this like it's some sort of incredible smoking gun about you being harassed? You claim doxing, you claim harassment, and the best thing you actually have is someone said erroneously that your subreddit was deleting Ramadan posts. This is the best you fucking got? This is your example of like the mass harassment campaign and doxing campaign and stalking campaign against you? Ethan Klein, you need help. What is this? This is so fucking bizarre. This is nothing. This is literally nothing.
And getting picked up by shit-tier content creators who don't give a fuck about anything. And we looked through our mod mail. We searched through it to see, well, this post, was it ever made? Because that's certainly not something we would ever do. And sure enough, there's zero record of it. It was completely fabricated. And when we said that it was completely fabricated, surprise, surprise, the person who posted it erased their account and erased the thread and completely disappeared. Yet the rumor continued to persist on their subreddit. It was never moderated. In fact, it was completely covered up by the mod team of H3Snark. Here they are. Here's the mods doxing our office.
You're just going to keep saying this? Now, your office is 100% going to be public. If you're a registered company in your state, anyone can look up where your company is registered. Doesn't fucking matter. So, calling this doxing when all they would have had to do is type in like your business name into Google. It's not doxing. It's a business. It's a registered business.
Actually, real screen.
Is there any evidence this is actually anything to do with the subreddit or whatever?
Screenshot. Hi, I know you're on.
They found the H3 studio address and Teddy Fresh actual address. This is your business registration address. This is public information, Ethan. You yourself has said that it's not doxing to share public information, as you went into people's Instagram accounts and said that this is a picture of their mother. This is also not doxing, because this is a private Discord. They're not sharing it. They're not telling people to go there. Doxing would be posting it in public and being like, go there. It's not sharing a public business address in a Discord server. You know, it's a business. If you want to find out something about the business, you Google the business name. It's all public. It's not fucking doxing, for one. It's public info. For two, it's especially not doxing when they just post it in their Discord. If you tried to sue them for this, you tried to claim they were doxing, even to Discord, It would clearly not be against the terms of service nor against any law. This is just total bullshit. You're lying.
Great, so I'll just drop this info here in case you need it in the future. We found the H3 studio and Teddy Fresh actual address. On the right is H3, on the left is TF.
By the way, there's no evidence here that this is actually the H3 Snark Discord or that this guy has any links to them or whatever. It's just him saying so.
Studio listing, here's the link. It's identical to the H3, here's their address.
There's so many holes in this that it's insane.
These are the moderators. This isn't even like the community members. These are the people running the fucking subreddit. These people are knowingly putting us and employees in danger by sharing this address with each other with malicious intent.
Is Google putting you in danger by putting it on Google?
So once I started discussing that we had an informant in the ranks that was sending me this kinds of stuff, surprise, surprise, the moderators deleted their accounts and voluntarily closed the subreddit.
Yeah, dude, normal people don't want to deal with frivolous litigation by a rich guy who has enough money to cause problems for them even when they are in the right. Normal people don't want to go to trial for defamation over what is ultimately not important, the reputation of a fucking mental illness YouTuber named Ethan Klein. They don't care about that. So what you're doing here is trying to file frivolous lawsuits against them. They don't want to deal with a fucking scorned rich guy who's angry that he's being criticized on the internet. Even though they would obviously win the case eventually, that's a huge fucking ordeal to go through as just a normal everyday person. I, on the other hand, would be happy to be on the receiving end of a legal case by Ethan Klein. So can you fucking do it already? Stop going after people you have no reason to go. Like, you're telling me you're going to file a case against them. And the basis for this case is they found my business registration address on Google. And there was a post on their subreddit saying that our subreddit was removing posts mentioning Ramadan. That's your fucking